I can feel a desire to ask something and a desire to know something, but can't think of what I could possibly ask you that would satisfy this feeling. You can call if you like. Sometimes... Okay, we'll do a question. Hello?
Wow.
Hey! Hang on a sec.
Well, actually, I'm not that good in English, but I'm happy this works.
Oh, good.
Hi.
Hey!
So now I see you.
Yeah, you can see me, yeah. And then there's also the live stream, which you shouldn't listen to or look at. You should look through Skype. I don't know if you're looking through live stream.
Oh, I'm on Skype
Yeah,
now.
yeah. It's a bit late,
I
the
was a bit
live stream.
I was a bit scared to call
Yeah.
because, well, I don't know. Unusual, I'd say.
Yeah.
So my mind is skeptic.
Yeah. Hello?
You might probably have any ideas why I'm skeptic. I tried to figure out why you do this.
Oh, I do it.
Why you make this live stream. But it's nothing that I have a very skeptic mind, so
Yeah. It's most probably better to go into that than to go into my dynamics, because I've talked about that in the past with people as to why I do it, if you listen to other videos. But just
okay.
it's most probably good to go into your feeling right now. So if you go into your body, what feelings are presenting themselves? If you feel in your torso area and in your body, like what stories are coming up in you? What do I represent to you? Because it really doesn't matter about other people, ultimately. It's more about the way that you see them and what they do to you. And you see those feelings that come up now, then they produce a story, and then that's looked through, and that's the way you see the world.
You mind repeating the last?
The feelings come up, and the stories get produced, so the thoughts get produced. Whether or not it's the thought or the feeling that comes first is never known. But then consciousness looks through that body that has those thoughts and feelings, and that then gets projected onto the world. That's the way the world is seen. So what feelings do you have present?
Well, what feelings do I have present? First is I'm nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the strongest one.
I'm nervous because I'm not perfectly alone, so there's some people living in this house.
Oh yeah.
But actually they're busy, I guess. So this seems to be something private. Also, this a live stream.
Yeah.
But it's in a way anonym, or how do you say?
I don't know that word. Sorry. A what?
Anonym.
I don't know that.
Anonym. Anonymous.
Oh yeah, it's not anonymous. Yeah, it is anonymous in.
Yes. I tried to talk on YouTube, but it wasn't really giving a lot of answers. I guess you don't read a lot of the comments at YouTube because, well, it's quite a mixture of of interests and motivations that write down the
Yeah.
comments
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So, but someone encouraged me to just call, and that was a little help. So I thought, well,
Yeah. And then you just called it just the right moment, because I then just opened my eyes and picked up. But
oh,
so
I tried it before, but I had to wait because you.
I
Well, anyway.
so now go in. So there's the nervousness of speaking in front of all those people, and is there anything else in your body?
Yes, the thing that blocks me is what I started with. But you said it's better to talk about me than about you.
Yeah.
And that point, of course, you're right. I could investigate more further.
Yeah. So that block where you feel like, why does she do this, or why is she speaking with people? It's obviously coming from distrust, or coming from a sense that this isn't something that you can trust, or you're not sure whether you can trust it.
It shouldn't be offending in any way.
No, not at all. Nobody's.
It's something that
Yeah.
I realize as some, well, it's a condition.
Yeah.
I realize this is a condition, and I realize that I'm on a terrain that is unfamiliar somehow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I realized that it's easy to trust if something is somehow connected to some sort of institution or whatever. Everything in social life is in institution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is harder for me.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why my first question: why are you doing this, or where would you put yourself? What happened to you that you do this?
Yeah. And there's nothing.
That doesn't mean
Yeah, but it doesn't. But it also, that's totally allowed. Like, what we feel is totally allowed. What we're always taught is that what we feel isn't allowed. So we're allowed to feel suspicious of something. We're allowed to feel reluctant of something. We're allowed to feel unsure. That's really okay. There's nothing wrong with that. When we get into suffering and we get into bizarre dynamics, when we don't acknowledge that, and then we try to get someone to prove their trust, or we try to force someone or something into something. So just sit with your feelings and just see what your body's actually telling you. And you're allowed to, that's all allowed. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with anything you think or feel. You don't need to act out on all of it. But just allowing anything that you think or feel to come up. So there's a sense of not understanding or not knowing what I am or what I do, and not knowing whether to trust, and just allow that feeling to come, and just see that feeling, and that's the way it is. So then certain thoughts get produced of wanting to have some proof or wanting to understand, and allow that to come as well. And who you truly are is beyond that. Most of the time we're lost in that dualistic world of trying to find something, trying to get something, trying to understand something. But see, you are the one which knows that, not the one that's looking for evidence or looking for this or that. You are that which it's appearing in, this stillness. And that's got nothing to do with me or what I say or what I do. That stillness is your essence, and that's the only important thing. And really it doesn't matter whether a guru is fake guru or not a fake guru, or whether they're speaking truth or not. What matters is that stillness. And if there's a resonance with the teacher speaking about that, the rest is just found in the world of opposites, of right and wrong, and trustworthy and not trustworthy. Your freedom is the one that's not found in opposites, that's right here, right now. It knows the one that feels that.
I do absolutely agree.
Yeah.
This sounds very, very not logic, but well, that sounds how true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next question would be, how do you?
Well, it's kind of like
Pardon?
it's kind of like a deconstruction. It's not something that you maintain. It's like the opposite. So it's not something that you purposely do, although The you seemingly in the process, in the relative world, explores this subject. It listens to speakers speaking about this, and listening to ones that touch you, not just on the mental level, but the heart level, that you have a response of love to, because this is about love. And then it's listening to speakers, and then it's also questioning what your actual experience is. So not just taking what you think, questioning what's underneath what you think and what you feel, and seeing that none of it's true, none of it's true. Anything that this body thinks isn't true, because Lisa's body still thinks, but none of it is seen as the truth. It's just thoughts that arise, and they're always changing. So it's a combination of listening to non-duality, and on the separate level, where you feel like you're someone that can do something, you explore what the reality is there, what is seen to be true, what is seen to be untrue, what is seen to be happening. Not just ignoring experience and doing things, but actually sitting and exploring what your experience is.
Mm. Mm. For example, I've been watching, I think, 2 of your live streams in a row. They're not live. And the next morning that was quite intense still. But then the busy day took that intensity away.
Yeah.
You can imagine.
Yeah.
This is something that's just fading.
Yeah.
So you have the picture of that this could be some kind of a dream.
Yeah.
It's just fading away somehow.
Yeah.
No? And so I should be interested. How can I keep this?
I wouldn't even go there. Ultimately, it's not your choice if you go there or not. But while you feel like you're a doer, when those thoughts come up, I just wouldn't give them any attention. See that when you're coming up and saying, how do I maintain this, or how do I keep it, that actually in your body you're just feeling there's a sense of discomfort, and then that discomfort manifests as thoughts that are looking to find comfort. And so just explore what's underneath those thoughts. Never take anything you think as a reality. And normally our lives are set up dualistically, so we're living in a society that's identified. So it's often true that you come to these talks and you have this opening experience, and then you go back into your life and you feel contracted again, because our whole society is based on a sense of being someone. So therefore you're constantly being required to be someone by your peers and by your workplace. And so it does take a time. It does seem to take time to change.
Like you said, you just said one thing that was like a key word.
Yeah.
It was quite at the beginning, was something like, if I care too much, I start thinking. And that is not the same. So it was like, what do you say, aware, or something like aware, but without grabbing too much.
I think
because when I grab it, I lose it the other way.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I lose it by being afraid, or that's
and
the filter doing somehow.
Yeah, and the whole idea coming up of trying to get it and trying to get somewhere, just follow that back into the feeling. Okay, so I feel afraid now, or I feel I don't know what to do. Just allow it to take you back to your feeling, or I feel whatever it is, agitated, and just be more and more honest with what your experience is. And the more and more honest you become, the less and less you'll act out such strong seeking patterns. And it's not your doing.
Like children.
Yeah, and it's not, like children. And it's not your doing, it's just something that begins to naturally happen in exploring this subject, is that you just begin to see your patterns, and so it begins to fall away. It's like if you learn that sitting on a particular seat has fleas or strong doership, like you've got to do something, or you've got to follow a path, because ultimately that you isn't a separate entity that's working, but it's like a natural functioning of things. I say to you, can you bring salt home from the shops or something, and it's the body takes the information and it's done, but it's not an independent doer. It's like Siri. I say to Siri on my iPhone, can you pull up this website? And he can do it, but it's not actually working independently. It's like a robot. But that doesn't mean that the robot doesn't appear to have choices and doesn't appear to make changes and doesn't appear to understand things. That's part of it. That's part of the dream, that it does do that. And it does investigate its experience and investigate who it is. It's like the great contradiction.
So the next thing was, for me now, I could pick, was to honestly observe how I react, not to react as I do it. But usually, just first of all, observe, honestly, how does it affect me now?
Yeah.
And then see,
Yeah. And then if you do react, and if you find that you're in reaction, then just in honesty with that. But it's hard sometimes, because when you feel angry at someone, it's like staying in that anger. There's such a strong pull sometimes, but then at some point you'll be like, okay, I feel angry. And then you can just be more, and then underneath the anger there's more than likely fear or feeling vulnerable.
It's good to come to anger, because I have quite some potential build up for anger.
Yeah.
Yes. I can be quite angry. This is a phenomenal big problem to come with.
Well, when you just feel it coming slightly, when it's not that strong, because when it's that strong, it's like a train going at speed.
Too late.
When it just comes up a little bit, just see if you can go and sit by yourself and go underneath it, and you'll find that it's vulnerability and fear. Anger's just a defense against feeling vulnerable or afraid. And so it's just hard to admit that, though, because we're so used to defending and being in our ways of being and living in our stories. It's their fault or it's this fault. But it will begin to change.
Well, I don't say I'm hunting for it, because that would be the problematic that I feel that I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But somehow let's say I observe it.
Yeah.
What would you say this is the?
Yeah, that's more in line. Ultimately, in the absolute, there cannot be somebody that observes it. There is only what's happening. But while you feel like someone, it can feel like there is an observation of what's happening, a stepping away from just being totally identified. And this seems to be part of the process of breaking down that illusion that you are that person. So, and you'll find times when you can just watch it, and then you'll find times where you're totally identified with it. And just keep exploring what the experience actually is, rather than just keep focusing on what you're getting or what you're doing.
I had moments when I had what do you say? Not hate. What was the other word? So being angry, anger, and I was able to. I received sort of help in that the intuition told me just to realize this is possibly not really me who is angry right now. So leave this alone and step back. And suddenly I realized, that was a tight connection to being angry, but it was something that is not really connected to me, and suddenly I found a way out of it again. But that doesn't happen every time.
Yeah, for sure. These habits become strong. Yeah.
Well, one thing that was interesting for me too was that I've seen on your website there somehow tried to know where I can put these people. There must be something. Are these all enlightened people, or what are they? are they all of the same level, or is it completely different?
On my website?
No, it was a connection to a website where there's different speakers of non-duality.
Yeah,
There's a
I
link.
wouldn't focus on whether they're enlightened or not, because enlightenment's going to be
Oh,
defined by everyone in
yes,
a different way. So enlightenment isn't really a thing. It's
yes.
it's definable, and this person will say it's this, and this person will say it's this, and I would just focus on whether or not they touch you. So just listen to
Okay.
them, give them a chance, and if they touch you on the heart, in the heart, if there's some sort of response to them, and I wouldn't judge too much. It may be like one that speaks differently from the other and speaks very differently.
I didn't want to. It was
Yeah.
just my mind was hard
Yeah.
to,
But when you
was confused.
explore them, like if one speaks completely different from the other, I wouldn't even let that put you off. I would totally go with there's a resonance there, if there's something being touched, like when you read a poem or you listen to a song. I would do it like that, and then forget about the idea of enlightenment, because it doesn't matter about the speaker, it doesn't matter about what you're listening to. It's that which touches you. And when I say the heart, I mean it's like that which evokes love, because what you are, your essence, is that love, but it's just covered by somebody that's rejecting love, that's rejecting life. And so it's like when they speak,
Yes.
and that begins to present itself, then it's coming out again. It's stopping being hidden by the illusion. And that's how I would judge it.
That sounds fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because honestly, when you begin to listen to speakers, they have such different definitions of what enlightenment is. And my definition of enlightenment is the end of a center which is experiencing this. So it's the collapse of the center that's experiencing it. It's not the collapse of the appearance of a person, but the end of that person being the experiencer, and then it's looking through that person. And everyone
Yes.
else will define it completely differently.
Yeah.
So there's a movement back
Oh,
to
it-
that stillness.
Yeah. I'm a musician,
Yeah.
and when it comes to music, it's people are always asking, how is this musician famous enough for me to listen to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're not asking, do I like the way he plays?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it giving me something? No, they need it's signed on paper
Yeah.
that this is
A good-
something of a good one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that is this is, of course, it works everywhere like
Yeah.
this. Huh?
Yeah.
So I realized, so now my head is asking the same stupid questions. Oh,
But-
I'm not far away from what I criticize myself, you know.
But when
So
when
this
you're
is-
a child, like, and you listen to music, you just respond to the music, which touches you, and it's got nothing to do with what's good or what's bad. And that's what's important. That's what's important always in life, is what touches you. We're always taught that that's not important. It's what we think, but it's what touches you. And that's so unique to each body mind mechanism.
And then if you look at the musician, there's even between people who have a quite developed technique, so to speak, there's so big differences. You cannot really say this is all one level or something like that. They're just unique.
Yeah.
So it's completely unique. Yes. So that is still my mind works like, wait, now let's find out how to put this now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But that's the way our society is, and it's got to a point. The intellect is good, you know. Like, I was watching this program recently about a documentary on Netflix about deprogramming after people have been in cults. And, you know, to an extent, the intellect is good, like to define, you know, certain things, but it's just that we've taken it as master. We've taken it as like in this deprogramming program. It was like the way that they deprogram was just asking logical questions about things. And these cults were like really extreme cults where you had to give up all your money, you weren't allowed to speak to your family, like really extreme cults. And they could be of Jesus Christ, they could be Hindu ones, all different cults. And so there's an extent where the intellect at points can be good. When the intellect stops questioning, then sometimes there can be huge naivety and people can be taken advantage of. So it's like a mixture of both, but the intellect in our society has been taken as king and God, and the only thing that's worthy in our society is the intellect, and we've forgotten how to just respond with our heart.
Same. The best example from my point is music. Music is, there's only intellect observing, is that worth concert going to, because you know that this person is known.
Yeah, yeah. What sort of music are you into?
Well, classical music.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing that. Is what I've learned. So.
Yeah.
But it's actually, with music, I guess it's more or less the same through every kind of music. It's quite commercialized.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to live from that.
Yeah.
Many people want to live from that nowadays, and there's many musicians. So.
Yeah.
And well, actually, it should be like, if there's so much music, the world should be better. No, but it seems like no, it's because there's so much. It works less, something like.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the so I that's why I called, actually. I've been quite critical how to handle that.
Yeah.
What shall we do with this?
Oh, nice.
This is, because of what you said, and what the concept was quite convincing.
Yeah.
That is, well, it's easily to forget. It's easily to, it fades away, as I said.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
But it was quite convincing. So, and it wasn't. Let me say this: it wasn't perfectly new.
Yeah.
You would probably agree. This is something that can happen, as you said, or as you how to say. Let's say I've read about this concept before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you described it in your own words.
Yeah.
And that was quite convincing, so that's why I'm calling here.
Nice.
So.
Oh, well, it's really nice speaking with you, and you can watch it back and you can listen to that, 'cause sometimes when you're listening in person you forget what's being said. But it was really lovely speaking with you.
I will call again once I feel I lost it all.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Because that seems to be like refreshment.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite concrete somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say. Well, real, you know.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you very much for calling.
Yes, it was
Thanks,
a pleasure.
sweetie. Bye.